Okay, in today's video, I'm going to take a quick look at the parties in legal proceedings in Irish law. You may have been involved, or you may have read, or you may have received some sort of a summons or some sort of a legal letter, or you may just have a general interest in this area and who are the parties. So let's take a look at the parties in legal proceedings in Irish law. Firstly, there is the plaintiff. The plaintiff is the party that brings the action or claim, so he or she is the person who commences the legal proceedings. The plaintiff can be an individual or it can be a company. Then you have the defendant. The defendant is the party against whom the claim is made. If you're bringing legal proceedings, it's absolutely vital that you identify and name the correct defendant. So if Mick or Mary do you wrong or owe you money, there's no point suing Mick or Mary if they provided you with a service or did something for you or owe you money in the guise of their limited company. In other words, you may, if for example Mick was a small builder and he had a limited company and he made an absolute hames of your conservatory or extension and you're going to bring some sort of legal proceedings, or if you supplied stuff to Mick and he's a small builder and a limited company, there's no point suing Mick. You need to sue the company. And if you're not happy with that, well, then you should have carried out your due diligence in the first instance to see exactly who you were supplying and what was the legal entity. Similarly with Mary, Mary could be supplying you with some sort of a product, or she could be doing cleaning for you, or she could be doing, she could be your dentist or whatever. But again, make sure that you have the correct defendant, the correct legal entity. A minor plaintiff then is a plaintiff under the age of 18. A minor plaintiff cannot sue on his own or her own. He must sue through a next friend, and that is normally a parent. A person of unsound mind then is an old-fashioned legal phrase. It's somebody operating under a disability, and they must sue through a next friend. A minor defendant then is a defendant, obviously, that is under the age of 18. Again, a minor cannot defend legal proceedings. He or she must have a guardian ad litem. You will have heard of guardian ad litems ad infinitum, if you pardon the pun, in relation to children's courts and a lot of childcare law and that sort of thing, where there's children involved and where their interests are different perhaps from the parents and where they need legal representation. Clearly they cannot represent themselves and they cannot instruct a solicitor, so the court will appoint a guardian ad litem to represent the interests of the minor. A petitioner then is a person bringing proceedings by way of petition. There's certain proceedings that you need to petition a court for. It depends on the particular relief or remedy that you're looking for. But if you need to bring a petition, well, then that person is the petitioner. Likewise, you may need to make an application to court. Then if you do so, there may be no person or no defendant rather, but you will need to bring an application to court and then you will be the applicant. For example, you may need to look to have somebody made perhaps a ward of court. So in those circumstances, I think you are the applicant. There may not necessarily be a defendant, but there may be law giving the court discretion to appoint you or somebody else as a ward of court, but you will be an applicant, but there may not be a defendant. The respondent then is the person against the petition or against whom a petition or application is brought. That's a typo there. Co-defendant then, sometimes there's more than one defendant in a legal proceeding. If two or three people rob, for example, a shop, and it's identified from the CCTV that there's two or three defendants or two or three people, individuals involved in it, well then clearly they're all going to be prosecuted and they'll be co-defendants. A notice party then is someone who is not a party to the proceedings but may be affected by the outcome. So if there was a claim, for example, an appeal to perhaps the High Court in relation to a claim at the WRC, Workplace Relations Commission, or a decision handed down by the Workplace Relations Commission, there may be a claim or some sort of an application for relief to the High Court. The WRC may not be named as one of the parties to the proceedings, but may be named as a notice party, because clearly the outcome of the decision from the High Court is going to be of interest to the Workplace Relations Commission. The Attorney General then represents the state and the public interest, and third parties may be joined in legal proceedings by a defendant who claims the third party was responsible for the wrong. So the person who's being sued is essentially saying it wasn't me, Gov, it was him, and he, did X, Y, or Z, and he may be joined in the legal proceedings by the defendant. Concurrent wrongdoer is a party joined in the proceedings by a defendant from whom the defendant will seek a contribution or indemnity. So the defendant may accept that they're somewhat liable, somewhat responsible for the loss suffered by the plaintiff, but they'll also say there was somebody else who also contributed to that loss, and that they are a concurrent wrongdoer and they should be joined in the proceedings by the defendant. Hope you find this useful. If you do, give it a thumbs up down below, and you may be interested in subscribing to my YouTube channel if you found this useful or any other aspect of Irish law. Thank you for watching.